Hey y'all, Bearder Bros Golf Show back at it again for another week. I am Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Welcome on in, everybody. Right off the top, I do want to mention that our U of H Cougars will be playing here at about 7:40 against the Texas A&M Aggies. Um, had my guy Lazar talking big cash stuff. He's a Aggie about uh, that we were in trouble. So we shall see. Go Cougs.
Not in trouble.
Representing. Yeah, I don't think so either, to be honest with you. So, yeah. How was your week, man?
It was good. It was smooth. It went by actually pretty fast. Getting right back into it with our event season. So we probably had four events, one canceled, but still had a big Saturday one. Had one canceled for tomorrow, but same thing. Five events in 7 days out of a week. So we're in it right now at my club. But it makes for the days to go by quicker, gives you something to do, and so you're not feeling like you're in a lull. And yeah, so I'm happy to see it come, and hopefully it goes by pretty quick as well the whole season, please.
Make sure. Absolutely. Staying busy definitely makes the time fly by faster. I had a it's an okay week. I don't know. I'm so tired of the weird weather up in Texas, getting out of this. Kind of we're in this little
Yeah,
purgatory state. Playing golf with a lot of wind. It was rain last week. I'm just tired. So I think next week is 77 and maybe overcast, but that's better than what we've been dealing with this week. And then I think, we're in the rainy season as well. So it's supposed to get poured on this evening and all day tomorrow. But that's
yeah.
Texas for you. So yeah, man, let's get on into it and talk a little bit about the golf this week. Nothing, I don't know. It's weird because there's a bunch of stories that we're going to cover, but nothing's like outstanding, super exciting. It's just we're kind of leading up to the Masters. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I feel like last week with the players, got some momentum. It felt like things were getting real. It was the only ball game in town, so back to a full schedule. Everybody was playing this week, so let's just go ahead and get into the title. Subject of today. So Nelly Korda won her second event today in a one hole playoff. She ended up struggling in regulation, bogeying 17 and 18, and ended up winning in the playoff by birdieing the hole that she bogeyed in regulation. But again, this is second win of the year, and I hesitate to say this could be a breakout year, but I mean, I wouldn't say she had a spectacular year last year. A lot of other
hmm
young ladies were able to kind of ascend and play well. What do you think about Nelly's prospects for 2024? Do we see a major from her this year?
I think we do. I mean, when you come back, when you take 7 weeks off, come back, win it again, like nothing ever happened. Like you just you won your last start, you took a break, didn't make the Asian swing, come back, they come back stateside, and you win immediately. I think it's scary hours for the LPGA, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for us, but unfortunately for the young ladies. I mean, I think Ronnie Yen, her coming home yesterday in tripling 18 on some unfortunate luck, really kind of just shattered her chances, if I'm being honest, because you could just tell on the green she just really lost it, kind of honestly. Mentally, she was just really like distraught. I mean, when you go from probably like a two-stroke lead, just needing a par, keep the lead, and then just going about your business on the final day, to tripling, falling back into the pack, and now all of a sudden you're looking up at the leaderboard. I mean, that'll do it. And I think that's what happened to her. And then Nelly Korda playing from two or three tee times ahead of the final group, put a put her name up out on the board, and then kind of just use that intimidating factor because it's Nelly Korda. I mean, she doesn't really make a lot of mistakes. She's never really just gonna go super low, but she'll never give away strokes like she did today. So I think the field got lucky. seeing her bogey 17 and 18. I really don't see her doing that much many more times throughout the season. So they tried, and I think Nelly is really going to be destined for something serious here. I mean, at least a couple more wins, if not at least one major. So I'm excited about it. I mean, I, I mean, I don't know. She looks like she's in prime form, like as if she never took a break. What do you think, Rod?
Did I fall out of your feed for a sec?
A little bit. You froze up on me.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. And it actually sounds good. So yeah, I caught what you're saying that just Nelly doesn't make a lot of mistakes. That the field honestly it shouldn't have even really been that close at the end. It looked like she
It
was gonna
shouldn't.
coast to a couple of strokes victory, but nevertheless, she was able to pull it out and just kind of show why she's one of the greats in the ladies game. I'm trying to pull up her season last year because I don't think she even had a victory last
No
year at
wins
all.
last year.
Um, no wins. Even though she was still holding pretty strong near the top of the world rankings, like I said, there were just a
Yeah.
couple other ladies that kind of asserted themselves, and we're seeing what's the young her name is flip. I'm
Lilia
lost
Vu.
for words. Lilia Vu. She's not had her best year this year. Um, Again, I think we mentioned this. I don't know, and I know it's a really sensitive topic in terms of, and it's not just from a subjective standpoint. I just really feel like Lilia Vu and getting in shape could do her game wonders. Um, I don't know. She dealt with injuries, some parts last year. She just doesn't look to be in really good shape. And kind of as we kind of creep into the major season, I don't know. I just really wish she would concentrate on that because the talent is there, the swing is there. I don't know. That's just maybe me nitpicking or something, but just when I watch her play, that's the one thing that I think could deal with some improvement. But
I
again, I don't
think
want to.
I think Matt Fitzpatrick. Remember 2022, he won the US. After that, he had a long time before he won again. He didn't win again until Harbor Town or the RBC Heritage the next season, right? I just
Hmm.
think Lilia Vu has had, some updated media obligations, um,
Right.
and really coasting. You win two times, you win four times in a year, two majors. You're number one solidified for the year. You put yourself in the Solheim Cup for the next two seasons. I just don't think she thought she had a lot that she needed to work on. So she probably is coasting, put it on cruise control a little bit. And I think with, the L starting to pile up, the, middle of the field results piling up, I think she's going to kick it into gear over the summer. Yeah, I don't really like to comment on that because like I think women in general just go through a lot more things than men ever do. So I just, I'm gonna give her some grace with that and hopefully, she digs it out the dirt with the golf game and however it may look, I just think that it's a winning product going forward. So, whether that be, her toning it up or really just getting back on out on a course and practicing more, however it may come. But yeah, I just think she's in a little bit of a layover before she, takes flight again. I think hopefully that's what it is with her because come she's an American talent that we need to see more of. We want to see her win more. So hopefully, again, like we talked about the first time when we were discussing Vu, is it right to call her a star? Is she going to become one of those prolific winners out there? So, the time will tell. And hopefully, this season, with there still being so many more events, she can still turn over that leaf and see what we got from her.
Oh yeah, they have so much season left. I was looking at their tournament lineup. I mean, they're still on kind of their worst West Coast swing, before they get to the Chevron, which is a week after the Masters week. So we will
Yeah,
see them play um, next
3
week
weeks
in
away.
a new tournament that they have. It's an inaugural playing of the Ford Championship.
Hmm.
It's going to be played in Gilbert, Arizona at Seville Golf and Country Club. They're playing in Shadow Creek in Las Vegas the week after that. Then they take a break for the Masters, as everybody does, and then they'll come back for the Chevron. So,
Shadow Creek is the match
it,
play.
um, they're not even. Yeah, there's the match play. It's the match play for them. So that'll be cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be cool. Last week, last year, Padre and Rockram won that tournament. I'm screwing that name up. There's a lot of syllables there. Um, but also always a interesting tournament. We love match play. I'm glad that the ladies have continued to play match play. Hint, hint. I get it. PGA, we're kind of in this feeling out phase. Bring back the WGCs. No, man, it's just
I told
oh,
you, man.
so much has changed in these last couple of years, and I don't think it's all been for the good. So, um, yeah, shout out to the ladies for keeping the match play alive.
For sure.
Only time we get to see it is President's Cup and Ryder Cup. So shout out to Nelly Korda as well. Just I think she's gonna do big things this year, and um, I mean bear out the talent that we all see. One of the best swings in the game. I love that TaylorMade. Honestly, they're the one kind of feed on Instagram that I get their notifications. So when I mean, they do a lot of featuring of her and her swing. I think last week they did
Hmm.
the deal where they did the frame by frame. I mean, it's just technically perfect. There's no more aesthetic swing than Nelly Korda, so it's good to see her get the results from that as well. So,
Facts.
all right, let's keep it moving. You texted me earlier in the week. You're like, uh, Singapore Open was doing the replay, I guess, on Thursday morning as they were replaying their round from the night
Buddy.
previous. And you're
Yeah.
like, bro, how does Paul Casey end up on the DP World Tour? I kind of did a quick Google and, saw that it was a sponsor's invite, but then doing a little more research, seeing that he's had a partnership with Porsche since 2020, and he's even got a Porsche emblem on the bag, how he got
Yeah.
into the event and actually was competing um, top five until he threw it in the water. I think it was on 16 today.
Hmm.
So ended up, not making it to the playoff. But what do you think, man? I don't know. Paul Casey kind of aggravates me because he was never a. I felt like the talent was always there. I watched him as he's a Nike athlete, so of course,
Right.
rooting for the check, but just had a hard time finishing the crossing line or crossing the finish line. Um, that that matched up with his talent. What do you think about Paul Casey getting into the DP World Tour?
It's cool. I mean, it, I think at this point, when a guy like Paul Casey comes back to the DP World Tour or gets any kind of sponsor exemption to it, he really is just trying to save face. I mean, he's not going back to the Ryder Cup. The only thing he has, premise over would probably be like a vice captain spot. But I don't know if anybody is feeling him in the locker room enough to bring him on as that. We know he's one of the guys. He's always been one of that. He's always been a friendly guy. Nothing wrong with that. But I mean, his prime is past. I mean, what are we really looking forward to in seeing Paul Casey, being showcased in general? Like, just
Nothing.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
Nothing.
Paul Casey, great swing, always been, pound for pound, one of the longest, just it was sneaky long, really. I mean, great swing, but he just doesn't win when it matters most. So again, like, congrats on you and the homies, like, getting together at Porsche and stuff. But really, what are we doing here? I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I get. All I really have to say, right, is congrats to Paul Casey on getting that exemption, getting him a little free change. He competed for three
And getting
rounds. I think he ran out
and
of gas. I mean, again, we talked about this a lot,
yeah.
but
Yeah. Okay, so you know what's crazy is that I want to touch on that early. It kind of relates to the PGA Tour, right? And so I wonder,
Yeah,
how many events from Live would be different if they played 4 rounds, and the results would be different because you see a
right,
guy like Keith Mitchell play well in the Valspar through 3 rounds, goes into the final round with a 2-shot lead after eagling on 18, throwing it in the cup from the fairway. So you're thinking, okay, man, you have a decent round of golf. All he had to
right.
do was play a couple of holes under, and he would have been in the winner's seat. I'm gonna sneeze here for a sec. Um,
That's you.
and then he has a 7 over round today. There, a lot can change in that fourth round, and it takes consistency over 4 days. So yeah, man, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's an interesting dynamic, and I totally agree with the. I get it. People don't like the official world golf ranking, but denying Live points based on not playing 4 rounds, I think is super valid. There's a lot that can change in a round of golf. What do you think about that aspect of it? And I agree. Them boys get a little tired after having to play that fourth day.
yeah. I mean, I think that's just what it comes down to. I mean, when you have 3 rounds, you know it's a sprint, and you know you have to go flag hunting all 3 days. But when you have, and that's because it's a lightened field. If you have a full field that provides a cut, again, the mental aspect of fighting 155 other 154 other players with 155 player field,
Mm-hmm.
fighting the course, fighting conditions, waking up early tee time. What are the conditions? Late tee time, things like that. When you get a shotgun start and you're always playing in the best conditions, everybody's playing in the same one, it's a lot easier. But when you have to worry
Mm-hmm.
about, oh, my first round's going to be in the 70s, no win, I got to take advantage of that, and then just hold on tight in my second round because I'm getting the worst of it playing an afternoon round where the winds are going to be kicked up, the fairways are going to be bare. Now the greens are going to be a little bit more, scuffed up because people don't always pick up their feet. People don't always prepare their ball mark like you would expect. Things like that. And then you go into the third round and still have to maintain. That's your moving day. And then you hold out with your endurance of the fourth round. They don't have that over there in the live. They don't have to worry about that because everything is pristine because 54 players are playing and you're all playing at the same time in the same 4 hour window. You're not even worried about anything like that. All you're worried about is going for the flag and shooting the best score possible while the music's blaring in the background. I mean, we're listening to Sweet Home Alabama and stuff instead of worrying about what my round is like and who's up on the leaderboard. So I mean,
Yeah,
it's just not a
yeah.
lot.
That pressure of being chased down makes a huge difference to me, or somebody setting the number in front of you,
Right.
going out there and just kind of killing it, and then you're having to chase them down. That changes. But when, like you said, when you're, yeah, you may be able to see the scoreboard from other players, but it makes a huge difference when,
We all have the
again,
same amount of holes left. We're all 7 holes left. We're all 6 holes left. It's not like some. It's just like what you said. Nobody can set a number. You don't have anything to look at or be afraid of. You're still just playing your own world.
yeah,
Whatever.
it's flawed. So yeah,
I'm
shout
trying to
out to Paul
understand.
Casey. I know we are. We're trying to. Um, but that tournament ended up actually. I almost texted you at like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning to see if you were up watching the DP World Tour. Did you get to watch it in like live, or did you
I
actually lay
didn't
your head
watch
on the
it
pillow?
live. I was laying it down. I think I had, but I did see that Keurig Deck was charging late, and I saw
That's
the yes.
that's it.
I
That's
mean, I
it.
saw the shot. I saw the shot,
Kira
and
Deck.
then
I was happy to see Kira Deck Happy Bonrat back
I'm always
competing,
a
which
fan.
he typically performs pretty well in Asia, but I mean, he's one of those guys where you'd look up years later and say, what happened to him? because there was a
Right.
point in time where he was really out here competing, doing
Yeah.
very well, and this it seemed like the success was going to come pretty easy to him, but he hit a wall, started struggling with his game. Um, but
Got
good to
hurt.
see him, yeah, competing again, and hopefully that translates. He's been spending most of his time over on the DP World Tour and splitting time on some Asian Tour events. So I'm excited to see him playing well again, and I hope that that continues. And then the Jesper Svensson guy, he's a talented guy as well, coming out of the Challenge Tour, which is the DP World Tour's kind of developmental side. Got his tour card, and in his 14th start, got a win,
Yeah.
and looked really good doing it. Dude's athletic and long. Looks like he's having some fun out there. There was a point where he felt like he was getting stressed out, but his caddy kept him loose and kind of in the moment. One thing that I was just noticing about the course over there, and you see this typically when they go to that side of the world, a lot of rolling hills, a lot of undulating greens with multiple
Yeah.
sections. It's definitely a signature look when you see them play over in, Korea, Singapore, China. Certain look to the course that you don't always see over here in the stateside.
Agreed.
So,
I just think they have. I
um,
just think they have the opportunity to, if I'm being honest, to space it out, things like that. I mean, be able to take advantage of the topography that they have at hand. We have a lot of flat stuff around here, and then we're always just trying to get as much entertainment in, so we don't really have a chance to have like two-tiered, three-tiered greens and things like that unless we have the space for it. But also I think it's smart because when you have a golf playing nation like the Asian countries do, you have a lot of foot traffic. So I think that gives them an opportunity to play different pin placements and stuff and give the green a chance to recover. Kind of like what I was talking about with, the greens getting tread on and stuff all the time. Well, if I have the
mhm.
fin in the back, at the top tier, that section is going to get some work. And then now I can put it in the front, let that section get some work, get some popularity and stuff like that. So I think it's, conservation, and then also creativity, and then also availability. So just really honestly a lot of enviousness over there, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a different look, and I think getting to play different types of golf courses is,
It's
something
what we
that
always talk about.
if you're a golfer, you like the variety, you like a little bit of links, you like the Parkland style, but that's like it's almost like a mix of the two when you look at it
Yeah.
visually, kind of a little bit of links because all the you hit on one side of the fairway and then it takes all these humps and bumps and you end up in a hollow, spot on the fairway. And it's just it's interesting and in a good way. Nothing, you know, untoward about it. And there was one part three, I think it was number 17 on that course that they were playing on the DP this week. I mean, it's like an island green, and they were having to take that thing in from like 190 plus yards.
Right.
It just amazing display of shot making. Again, you land in a spot, try to work it down to the hole, playing away. You're not playing directly at the hole for the most part. So, an
Yeah.
interesting week. Again, it was a good week of watching golf this week for me. The different times, ladies playing on the West Coast, followed there by the gentlemen playing on the DP World Tour. Early starts with the Valspar playing in Florida. So super cool. Got a lot of viewing in this week with the golf. So before
100%.
we move to the PGA, want to hit on one little auxiliary story. Something that disappoints me, and I think that we're probably going to see the end. I don't know. I've been saying this when Tiger left Nike, a couple months ago, that Nike was starting to struggle. So hear me out real quick. Just a couple of articles came out this week with significant news around Nike. They've been struggling with their performance. I think they're down 3%. Domestically, year over year sales, which is huge for them. We saw in other shoe companies and retail CEOs changing and shuffling. Nike also announced that they'd be producing less of their kind of classics. So the Air Force One was going to be getting a lot less run than it has in the past. And so with this slower performance, what companies do and what Nike has honestly pledged to do is to reduce their offerings, kind of focus on core parts of their business. And we've known for years that Nike golf has not been the biggest seller in, in Nike, within Nike. Running, basketball, football has been the bread and butter. And I'm super concerned about what's going to happen with Nike Golf, and in addition to kind of new releases not necessarily selling out at the same rate that they
Yeah.
always have. So those black and white Jordan 9s still fully available in pretty much every size. The cool gray, which is always a super popular colorway. I think I looked last night before, we hopped on, and they were still fully available up to size 11 and a half, which I'll be honest, most people are about 10, 10 and a half, 11, but those bigger
Right.
sizes are the only ones that are sold out. It's got me concerned about viability of Nike Golf, and will it be going away in the near future, or
Yeah. In
drastically
totality.
reduced. Yeah, maybe they just reduce it down to a handful of releases. No signature shoes anymore. What do you think about it, man?
Yeah. I mean, I think Briss is still gonna get his shoe. They're still gonna make that version of the Tiger Woods shoe, the TW that Scotty likes. Tommy Fleetwood wears. I mean, and of course, new up and coming star Alex Fitzpatrick, he wears them too when he's not wearing Air Maxes. So, I mean, I think they'll still keep a stack. I mean, a stowaway for those guys, like your guys that still want to wear the Nike check. But other than that, yeah, I think it's pretty much gonna just fall off the side of the cliff. Um, it's gonna be pretty painful. It's gonna be ugly when it all comes down to the end of it, but I think it'll only be ugly for people that are like, Nike mainstays. The people that love freaking Adidas and then just like a few Nike things, or, they're not brand allegiant, I think they'll be okay. But I think, Nike fans
Yeah,
will suffer a little bit because where are we going to go? You know, that's what I was saying. Like, when we talk in private, what do I talk to you about? Well, if I'm not getting Jordans, then I'm getting FootJoy. There's a couple of brands that I'm looking at, but nothing's really just like coming out where I'm like, yo, like I need that.
nothing's nothing's popping right now. I mean,
Exactly.
we've talked about the FootJoy re-releases. The SLs are not my flavor. The Hyperflex has been out a couple of years at this stage, which is cool. I'm planning on getting that. I missed out on the Birchwood colorway that I wanted. I didn't realize that it was a super
Yeah.
limited release.
Premier's a
But
great shoe though, still.
it is. But you know what? They haven't revamped it since 2021, right? So they brought out the Premier 3 years ago, and it's largely gone unchanged. I think they just released a newer model on the kind of the formal side, around the players, which is cool. It's actually more formal than the premieres, which is, again, interesting that they're dropping that, but nothing that gets you, like you said, excited. We've talked on the back end that, super happy with what New Balance is trying to do out here, but even then,
Definitely.
some of their releases are solely for the women. There's a version of the New Balances that kind of have that waffle kind of up the back side of the shoe, and it's only released in a women's version. So
Yeah.
I was sitting there contemplating in my mind, like, how would I
What's your
feel?
woman's
Like,
size?
exactly. And would I feel weird wearing a women? One, it
You're
probably
10 and
isn't
a
felt the
half, huh?
same way. Yeah, it probably
Get
wouldn't
you a
feel the
12 or a
same.
12 and a half. Yeah, it's a little bit narrower, but I mean, they're a size and a half up.
There's
Just
just
throwing it
not
out
a
there.
lot. I know. There's just not a lot of shoe manufacturers out there killing it right now. Adidas has
Yeah.
gone somewhat quiet on the shoe
I
front.
just don't even know what
Um,
they make anymore.
yeah, most of their stuff is casual or the super spikeless stuff. So I don't know, man. I've definitely slowed down on shoe purchases and
Yeah.
watching them. I am looking forward to in a couple weeks talking about some of the Masters releases. Those those kind of look okay. I mean, there's some New Balances out there. I saw an Under Armour Masters release. What actually got me excited about just the profile of the shoe itself was actually pretty damn nice, and they did a
Hmm.
pretty sweet job with the Masters colors and not overdoing it too much.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to putting that together here in a couple of weeks so we can kind of run down the Masters shoes and we'll see
Nice.
what Nike's doing as well because last couple of years they've struck out going ultra artsy with the master stuff. Last year was like the peach basket. The shoes were fuzzy with like a
Yeah.
suede type material. Just real over the
It's not
top
good.
with the art. So anyhow,
I think New Balance's problem is to me right now is their spikeless gen is very good, but their spikeless shoe is so unappealing. Like to the eye, to the foot, the colorways, everything. If they put like I think they need to do what Adidas was doing with like the shell toe, that looking shoe, or like
mm-hmm.
the Stan Smiths. But he use that same body style as a spikeless and literally throw like 7 or 8 spikes around the edges. You know, 3 or 4 in the back, and then 4 around the perimeter. You're outside of the foot, the exterior of the foot, for some grip and some stability, and call it a day. That's the
Yep.
difference between a like. Just keep it simple. There's no need for you to build a whole new shoe when all we're literally asking for is does it have spikes or not? Because I guarantee you, a lot of these people like the same. Uh, a lot of these guys like the same shoe. They just want it to either be spiked or non-spiked, depending upon the weather conditions. If it's a dry day, I don't need super loggy down spikes. Spikeless is fine. I'm still gonna have enough tread. Now, if it's wet and I feel like I'm gonna slip, give me the spikes. But I want this same foot style. I want this same comfort. I don't need a whole
Mm-hmm.
new shoe rendition just for some spikes to
Right.
be put on it. Like
Right.
that's why we love the Jordans because the Jordan 9 is the Jordan 9. They just put spikes on it. What are we talking about? It's the
Yeah.
same thing with the
I don't know.
12.
You're right. I mean, you want what you want, and you know, you feel, I don't know, when I wear Jordans, especially anything outside of the six, I feel athletic in that shoe, right? It kind of
Truly.
encourages you to be more dynamic in your swing. I don't know. Just gets me in a different mode. Same with that same aggressiveness back when we played, hoops. You feel the same way, and I think I
Definitely.
don't know. It translates mentally over for me on the golf course. So I agree with you wholeheartedly on kind of shoe manufacturers, especially the Nikes,
Like you
just
got like
going
a
way
lot of
too
good
far.
momentum. Yeah, you got good momentum. Don't screw it up by overcomplicating things. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and the colors, that's a whole nother thing too. We won't even touch on
Right.
how bad the colorways have been from a lot of
Facts.
manufacturers, honestly, in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Even that's where New
Period.
Balance
Everybody.
misses me. Like New Balance, they have that. It's a really nice version. It's kind of a leatherette type shoe, but then they went with like a Chicago Bulls colorway, and I'm like, dog, you can't do that. It's like intruding on certain territory that uh, I don't know. Most manufacturers have stayed away from the red, black, and white because they know it
Right.
invokes kind of Jordan, Nike, etc. So anyway,
And it's limiting the
uh,
shoe. It's limiting what you can pair it with.
yes, true,
Ugh.
true. Most golfers want some neutrals, and I get it. Unless you have 30 pair in your closet, um, you want to kind of something that you can wear week to week and mix it up a little bit.
Yep.
Let's move on over to the the PGA Tour this week. I mean, the
Okay.
Valspar is a kind of a ball strikers course.
Yep.
Not super low scoring. I feel like when we talked about this course last year, this is when that kind of the ball conversation and reduction of the ball was coming around,
Yeah,
and
it
we
just
talked
started.
about how well the Copperhead course has grown up the rough, and that remained the
Yeah.
same this year. Smallish greens, yet it's not super long. There's bends in the fairway, there's water. You can't just bomb and gouge at this course. I just again they been able to repeat that, and it just made me reminisce on kind of how we can kind of design around the modern game. But
Yep.
of course, always presents very well. Um, One story that stood out for me, especially from round three, was Justin Thomas. He missed the cut at the Players last week,
Yeah.
moves on down, and my man had an okay tournament going up until the third round. Shoots a 79, and I think the most egregious part was the 38 putts that he had. That part is I guess that's not aggravating. It's worrisome that he's got different phases of his game right now that he's struggling with. Um, where do you think he's going right now? Is he, do you? I don't know if you've watched him lately. I don't know if he's working on something and just in the midst of a swing change. Even when he did change his swing early last year, it just was a little less upright. What do you think is going on
Mm.
there, man?
I don't think he has a lot of room to change his swing. It's so homemade. I feel like mentally, if he's not, I mean, I think if we're if we're keeping it a buck, Rowdy, I think that if dad gets off the bag as far as coaching goes, I think he needs to go to Butch. He needs to either go to Butch or he needs to go to like a Sean Foley. Butch mentally, that way he's not serious sitting here. I think that'll allow him to not think about specifics as far as technicalities. So he'll still
Mhm.
be able to swing his own swing and be able to bomb it and still move the ball around, and Butch will help him out mentally, as Ricky and all the other Butch stands have talked about, and it's been proven.
Yeah,
Butch, whatever it is he does, puts you at an ease to where you can play your game and figure it out from there. He doesn't travel. You come to Vegas, you better go out to see him where he's at, and he's going to help you. But other than that, I think the only other person that I think probably Sean Foley, like I was saying, and that's just because that'll get him to be more athletic. And again, things to where he's not thinking about the functionality of his swing. He needs to be thinking about getting the ball out there in the space where he can hit it again. And then for him, it's putting. I mean, you saw it in the full swing. You saw it throughout the season. He's trying different grips. He's trying different ways to approach the putting. Sometimes he comes in and he doesn't have, you know what? As easy as it sounds, he doesn't have the same routine. I feel like he's been
hmm
trying different things and and had different superstitions to where it's kind of throwing him off. And when you golf a certain way for 30 years, or he's what, 32,
let's just
33.
let's just say 25. He's yeah, he's
Exactly.
a low
You know,
31, 32.
been playing 20 plus years. You've been approaching putting the same way for so long, and all of a sudden you have a few shaky years on the putting green, and now we got to change this. We got to change that. Now we're changing the grip. Like, bro, you just need to unfortunately weather the storm and get back to what you were doing. There was nothing wrong with what you were doing. Then you have a chance. Then it's on the edge if you're not going to make the Ryder Cup or not. Now all of a sudden you like, oh, I'm grinding it out. I'm figuring it out. I'm doing all this other stuff. Buddy, you're in your own head. At this point,
Yeah,
it's just I just don't really have a lot to say about JT besides that. Like, bro, you still use the same Phantom putter. You still use the same putting grip, but you're changing everything else about it. Like that's what's killing me, bro. Like I just think
Yeah.
JT's in his own head and he needs to stop. I think and I
Yeah.
think him and Spieth are in a similar stage. They need to get out of their own head. Both of them. They're doing the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
are y'all having a
Sometimes I
family now,
think
bro? Like, y'all don't need no
I
midlife crisis.
I think there's definitely something to the whole needing a different voice and getting just different feedback, right? So,
Yes,
Spieth has been with the same coach since high school or, junior days. Same thing with, Thomas. Of course, his dad has, being a PGA professional, has given him instruction. But I think there's a certain, he's gotten, I shouldn't say, I don't know, I don't want to phrase it the wrong way. I don't want to say gotten by, but his natural talent has taken him to heights
he's
that,
gotten too
you
comfortable.
know, were unbelievable, right? And so now, as the game continues to grow, despite people thinking that everybody that plays golf has moved over to live that's worth a damn, there's a ton of young talent that's coming up, right? We see them week in, week out. New names are being developed. And so with Thomas and both Spieth, they had their primes where they were killing it, crushing it, coming out early, as in their early 20s, winning. And now it's like everybody's starting to catch up with them, right? And so
Yeah,
sometimes you have to get a different voice in there, right? Again, you mentioned it. We saw it from Ricky. He was able to figure some things out last year and kind of regain why we loved Ricky in the first place. Outside of just being marketed to, the dude had game. And
yeah,
so, once you start changing some things, you start reprioritizing, like you said, life. But at the end of the day, this is your job, and you have to figure out the best way to be effective at your job. And it's not like they're hurting for money; they still make cuts and etc. But
right.
winning at the top levels, we haven't seen that from those guys here recently. And just seeing JT shooting a 79, and I mean, let's go back to last year. This man has had quite a few rounds in the upper 70s and 80s, just kind of way outside of the norm. And it's not just an anomaly now at this point. This has cropped up on him. So there's something that he's fighting in his own head. There's just no way to kind of dismiss that at this point.
Yeah,
So I mentioned the Keith Mitchell fall, kind of falling apart earlier when we were discussing Paul Casey and Liv, but Peter Malnati, who we actually touched on last week as a player director for the PGA Tour, wishing that maybe he wasn't the one that was out front speaking about kind of the ins and outs of the league, gets his second
right.
career win today. Not a long hitter. Again, the Copperhead course, the Valspar, championship is not a bomber's course. So
Yeah,
Malnati was able to kind of move it around, get his second win. Typically as we do, we'll review the what's in the bag for the winner. So I'll pull that up here. Let's go through Peter Malnati's bag. So just the list first. So he's got the TSR 3, 10 degrees, Project X Denali Blue, um, Tour X, shaft. Um, as we were told a few weeks ago, everybody is absolutely playing the Fujicara Ventus, which I mean it's a popular shaft, and we'll touch on that here in a little bit. But he
yeah.
does have the Fujicara Ventus in his 3 wood, so he's playing a TSI 3 at 15 degrees. Again, this is my like obsession now to see who's playing the either 13 or 13 and a half degree 3 wood or the 2 wood,
Mm-hmm.
and then who's still playing the 15 degree. So
Yeah.
also he's playing the hybrid 818 H2 at 19 degrees with the Tour AD. Interesting thing about this club, and I have some pictures up of this. This is a club from 2017,
I was about to say
release
this is an
late.
old ass club.
It really is. And I get it. Kind of the look that he wants. They're not making clubs like this right now. You know, certain things come and go, and certain styles and they get popular, but the style of hybrid that he's playing is not common right now.
Yeah.
Um, so he's got the Titleist, you know, in the bag. T200 for the long iron, the 4 iron, a little bit of help in there. Titleist T150, which is a little bit jacked in loft, very similar to the T100, but just a stronger loft. In the 5 iron only, and then T100 in the 6 through 9 with the True Temper AMT Tour White S400. Um, tell me on this. That's you usually see the S400 in wedges. Not typically are we seeing that in full irons. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, in general, the AMT white is not a shaft that you see in a lot of tour bags. Period. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't want to go out on a limb and say like this is a very rare shaft, but I mean, a lot of tour players play the same gram weight throughout the bag, right? Until they get into the wedges, then they put a little bit of a heavier wedge. The AMT Tour White is a progressive set as far as the gram weightage goes in each shaft. So with the higher lofted clubs, like the 9, the 8, those are your heavier. That's your heavier. And I think the AMT white goes up to like 115. It might be a little bit heavier because it's the S400, a little bit stiffer, like a stiff
Mm-hmm.
plus type shaft. But yeah, so when you get into like the lower lofted, like the 4 iron, the 5 iron, and clubs like that, that's like right around 100 to 105 gram weighted shafts so that you can still feel like you're swinging it fast. But yeah, that is in itself a very rare shaft to see in a tour player, especially one that's, I would say, pretty much in the fight week in and week out. He's middle of the road. We're not seeing Malnati miss cuts. We're not seeing Malnati top tens, top fives, but we're seeing Malnati on the leaderboards. We are always seeing footage of him and stuff like that. So I definitely
Yeah.
think this is something that you don't see a lot, but very admirable to know his game and know his specs and know what he can and cannot swing. Hence why he's still playing this 8-year-old, 8-year-old hybrid that he's playing. Because he got
Yeah.
that. He didn't get that in 2017. He got that as a prototype. Then, he's like, well, I like this. So, let me just keep it in the bag for 2017 going forward, and just kept it going.
And I want to say this shaft actually may not be one that they're offering up to the masses. I'm going to pull up the True Temper website here as well, um, and you can kind of see from the offerings here. Hopefully, that's big enough for viewers. But they're not offering this shaft up in that S400 as a standard offering. So he may be working with True Temper directly to get that particular weight. Um, for his irons, it seems super unique and that he's getting kind of very, very custom on his end. This is what they're
Yeah.
offering up to the public. So interesting
So the
shaft.
red
I
must be the
mean,
lighter one.
say that again.
I said the red. They have 3 different colors. They have the ANT black, if you saw, and the ANT black, ANT red, and the ANT white. I'm guessing the white is the heaviest, the red is the lightest, and the black is in the middle. It also has to do with like trajectory and things like that as well. So the heavier shafts tend to have a lower trajectory just because it's easier for more skilled players to play heavier shafts and keep them lofted down and stuff like that. The stepping is a little
Yep.
bit different.
Yep.
Boom, yeah, there
There's
you
the
have it right
profile.
there.
Yep.
There you
You're
have
spot
it.
on. Low spin, low trajectory. So interesting shaft choice. I mean, we have not seen this one as of yet. We'll keep doing these, and like I said, it's very interesting to see where people make adjustments. It's probably not again not the
Definitely.
fastest swinger of the club. Um, so let me pull this back up
He
here.
has a sizable dip in his swing, if I remember correctly.
He does. He
He's
does
kind of
work
laid
down towards the
off
ball.
and hmm
Yeah. Um, his swing almost reminds me of a little bit of Jim Furyk light. He doesn't do a huge reroute, but
yeah.
he's got some characteristics of his swing that are definitely you know intricate to himself. Again,
Facts.
the playing the SM9s. I think a lot. We haven't seen a lot of players put the SM10s in their bags as of yet. We're seeing a lot of
No.
SM9s. I think we said Scotty Scheffler is still rocking the SM8s. Um, Rocking the 48, the pitch and wedge, gap, 56. Pretty standard stuff here. Nothing crazy, but he is playing his 60 Bennett 62. So that's an interesting adjustment. He's
He
definitely
doesn't
not
hit
going.
full. He doesn't hit full shots.
Exactly. You already know.
I'm
True Temper
just.
Dynamic Gold S400.
I have a lot of admiration for everybody that plays a pitching wedge above 46. I ain't gonna lie to you. That's a lot of strength. Buddy,
Yeah,
47 at the max, like 46. You getting
but
135 out of that tops. Like
but at this point, he's the type of player that's playing for accuracy, right? He's not
true.
someone that wants to kill his pitching wedge and is trying to hit that 150, 160 yards. It's for
That's very true.
accuracy. So, I mean, like you said, I respect it. I respect it because he
Right.
knows his game. I will also have pictures of this Scotty Cameron. It's an interesting putter. Um, it's so fun seeing the different Scotties that are out there, especially the prototypes that you or I can't typically get. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it's typical Golf Pride Tour Velvet. Another intricacy of his bag, playing the yellow ball, the Pro V1X yellow.
The
Um,
story just came out about that. It's a cool story, but also kind of like, yeah, this is
t-
it's a forest,
I,
but like
I'll,
I get it.
I ran out of time to look it up. What are the Cliff's notes on that?
So they just interviewed him about it after his third round. And he said he did it because last year when his kid was 3, he was really very magnetized to the yellow golf ball. So he played the yellow golf ball for the entire season because of his kiddo, and it
Okay.
reminded him to keep things level, made him smile a little bit out throughout the round. And he said now that his kid is 4, he's over it. In typical toddler phase, you know, with the breeze, the opinions change. So he's
Yeah.
already done with the yellow golf ball, but he said it still makes me think of the kiddo, so I'm still running with it. And you know how little stitches some golfers are. So good on him. And if it's for the family, like I get it. Like it's still kind of corny to me because yellow's corny in general to me, but good on him for having something to think about throughout his round as he's competing for millions. So, whatever it takes, bro. For real.
Whatever it
I, I,
takes.
I mean, Ricky Fowler was playing the picks or whatever. So
Still,
whatever,
yeah.
dog.
Same thing with Fairway Jesus. Tommy Fleetwood plays the picks as well.
Yeah.
So to each his own.
Whatever gets it done, man.
Swinging back to Monotti's clubs. Try to do a zoom in on the levers, not levers, but the adjustments. He's in neutral setting. Kind of put the little note up here. What you'd
Yep.
expect from a pro, right? Not really wanting a lot of help there, but I thought it was cool that they did a super zoom in on the bottom side of that club. So here's that
He's probably a
hybrid
neutral setting because he's injected.
mm, that makes sense. That they can kind of
Well,
manipulate it without having to do
yeah,
else.
I had to wait in the hill, super in the hill, not H1 but H2. So if you could just, just shoot me a little glue on the inside, I'll be all right. Yeah, this shit like that. You don't have to worry
Yeah,
about it anymore.
yeah.
That way it looks like store bought, but bro, y'all got shot up. It's cool. It's
Of
fine.
course. Here's
Oh
that
yeah,
hybrid from 2017. That square
that
toe
big
is just
blocky
not
shit.
common.
Yeah, that
It's
big
just, I
blocky
mean,
shit.
it
Golly.
was it was popular for a while, and I think I even had a tailor-made. I think I want to say it was the M2. No, it wasn't the
Four,
M2.
four.
Yeah, that had that same kind of square toe. I didn't love it. I
Mm,
mean, I like a compact club. Don't get me wrong, but just
yeah,
something about the look of that from the top line is not very appealing. But
yeah.
again, he's been getting his
I,
wear out of it.
for sure. I think Callaway has the best looking hybrids. Unfortunately, I cannot hit I cannot hit Callaway clubs. Whether that be superstition on my part or however it may come. Like I've tried the Apex Tour, APX CB, the regular Apex. I've tried the Epic Flash, all that stuff. Great looking
No, like
club.
none of the woods, or just the including driver as well, or just their hybrids and
And
through wood.
driver as well. The Big Bertha Epic when it was that first like black and green with the jailbreak and stuff like that. When they were really talking about like the thin hot faces, I mean that was when I was working in Golf Galaxy and stuff like that. I could test all this stuff out, hit it, get acclimated and stuff to it. It
Just
just wasn't for me,
never
man.
fit you.
Yeah,
I set myself up for a driver fitting this Wednesday. I figured it. I've had
nice.
mine for 3 years. It's time for a change. So I'm very interested to see what shaft I end up with, what head works the best. It's kind of like, I went in for iron fitting a couple years ago and had no idea what to expect. You have you think but the
Mm-hmm.
numbers can prove to be something different. So
Facts.
interested to see what I come with next week when we hop on. Kind of go through this. So again, he has this prototype Scotty. It's the masterful tier type. I couldn't find the exact version for sale, but you can see this version was on eBay for $7,000, and there were a lot of comps that were in the same range or same style
Mm-hmm.
as this putter, and they were all 7, 8,000. Saw a couple $10,000 versions of this. So
So as you can tell, friends and family, these guys aren't using regular clubs,
they're
not your
not.
everyday clubs, buddy. My
They're not.
lord.
They're not Anthony Kim playing stuff straight from Golf
No,
Galaxy. This is some
no, bro.
specifically tour, use only designed for him.
Oh, for
Interesting. It's got a little
sure.
bit of extra. The back is definitely unique. It's not the typical Newport. I like it. I actually like it as a blade. Looks like it's got a little more heft back there.
Yeah, see, but now they
And
have the super select. They have the super select like fastback 1.5, which is like the one wide, the wide blade, which is like, my ultimate look. But that's why I like the Del Mar because it reminds me of that, but like with completely you're right, mom. The complete like toe flow and feel that I like. So that's why I gotta stop
yeah,
tinkering, man, because I just wasted like $20 on a grip, bro, just for me to get it right.
just
I
to
swear to
go
God,
back to
bro.
what you just had.
Yes, bro. I played 2 rounds and I was like, nope. Literal two whole
Yeah.
rounds and I was like, nope. Oh my God. It was pain. But I'm back home now. So we're okay now.
um so let's jump into, I thought it was going to be interesting if Keith Mitchell had held on to win today, because he would have been the second Mizuno driver
Right.
to win on tour this year, which is
We, we would
interesting.
have been looking
Who's
at
thinking?
two, 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 and two or something like that. It would have been very even.
Well, yeah, I have it pulled up here. Who's checking for Mizuno like that? I didn't update it for today's round. So let's jump back. So keep a quick count for me. So the Century, which was first tournament of the year, we got the oh my god, typo. Callaway
Boy,
Paralympic apparently. Boy, Google, or not Google, but
paradigm.
a- Apple's definitely going to try to autocorrect you. Paradigm, triple diamond with the Ventus blue. Usually we're
No.
seeing the black out here. Again, another, instead of Sony, we're getting soy. The soy open, Jesus Christ. Um, Mizuno, that
You
was,
were doing your talking, weren't you?
yes. God,
I
this,
knew it.
the Mizuno STX 230 with the UST Miyama. This is definitely not common. Link Q M40X. God, that's a lot of.
No
That's
clue.
very unique. Yes, nine
Very.
and a half degrees. American Express, which was Nick Dunlap. The TaylorMade Q10. Typical Farmers Insurance. Got the Ping G30 Max in there. Pebble Beach
Come
with
on.
yep, and he was actually performed pretty well over there on DP World Tour this week as well, playing the Ventus
Hmm.
TR Black, Pebble Beach Wyndham Clark, Project X Hazardous Smoke with the Titleist TSR3. This one's actually pretty standard, right? I mean, this one's not some super unique. It's high end, but it's not like super customized. That smoke green, the one that we saw from uh God, what's the guy's name that won the Mexico Open down here? He had a super unique Project X Hazardous, that T 1100 Green TX. That one was tricked up
Yeah,
quite a
that
bit.
was super exclusive, but that you're not gonna see mainly because of the torque of it. You just not even gonna see the hazardous smoke green in a lot of like amateurs. Like I have the hazardous smoke black in X step
Mm-hmm.
tipped an inch, and you're not gonna see that a lot. That's even that green is way more rare. But yeah, that I
Yeah.
mean that is a tough shaft to control. Like if you know, like if the speed that he's swinging at, yes, it is good. But like for us, please
No.
stay away from it.
Yeah. And he said he made some adjustments where he was losing it out to the right. This is Wyndham Clark,
Yeah.
where he's changed his shaft up as well, and I think also changed driver heads to change the spin profile. He wanted a little more spin. I think he was
Hmm.
so low spin he was losing them out to the right with that cut. So nice adjustment, to start the season, which is definitely paying off for him. At the
Definitely.
Genesis, or excuse me, let me jump back to the waste management. We got the Titleist TSI3 with the Fujikara Atmos Blue, getting a
Yeah.
little bit older Fujikara shaft. Genesis, which was Matsuyama, the Srixon ZX5 LS Mark II. He's been rocking this graphite design Tour 80
That
shaft
Tour
for
AD
quite
is
some
a
time.
love it.
He's solid. He's had that for years. We've talked about the Mexico Open, Cognizant Classic, the Ping 430 LST, Project S Hazardous Smoke Green. Seems, yeah, it's popular. And
Hmm.
I'm very curious who gonna start contending with Fujikara in terms of that Velocore technology that they're utilizing to get
Yeah.
people on board. Who's gonna come out with something similar? Because they're getting their ass whooped. I think the player stats were that 40% of the players were rocking the Fujikara Ventus. They got something for sure.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico Open, which was up against the players last week with Bryce Garnett, Callaway Paradigm. See, it worked that time. Triple Diamond, 10.5 degrees. Didn't get the shaft info. They didn't have that available. Um, wasn't playing with the big boys that week. Arnold Palmer, which
Right.
is Scotty, and then the players. TaylorMade Q10, Fujikara Ventus Black 7X at 8 degrees, which we've
You know.
talked about his quite a bit. So I just wanted to hit that. I'm hoping they update that throughout the year because that'll be very interesting to keep that list going to see how it. Right now, it's pretty damn even, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Ping getting some run, clearly the tailor made, and I think when I was going through it, what stuck out to me is that the technology has just come so far that
Yeah.
you don't necessarily. I mean, they're just. It's hard to differentiate um, what's good and so all the hype that we used to get about drivers and oh we're better than the competition, it's honestly kind of bullshit these days.
Yeah.
They've all gotten to a certain point where it's like, hey, we're maxed out. And then now it comes down to optimization in your shaft and your swing profile rather than just the head being the driver. And I think that's why it's
Right.
interesting to go through the shafts these days and seeing what people are doing. Because again, even if the Fujikara is really good, it doesn't fit for everybody, right? It may not fit my swing characteristics, even though they have a
Yeah.
ton of different versions of it out there.
Very
But
true.
anyway, before we
Yeah.
hop
No.
off,
I mean,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, what do you have to say on that before we kind of start wrapping up?
I think that the Ventus shaft is really one of the first ones that just like leaped out to me when I was in like fitting and sales and customer service like that. It was one of the very first shafts where it was just like you can get the Venice Blue or you get the Venice Blue Velocore, and that was like one of the first up charges where it was like, oh, this driver goes from 450 to 800, and it's like, oh, that Velocore is serious business. That's all I was gonna say.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
have
just
anything more than
interesting.
that.
And like I said, we'll see what's next. I mean, it was just a couple of years ago, a year or two ago, we were talking about the Tensei. It was the orange was super popular, white was getting some run in like the woods. What's
Yeah,
next? Who's gonna compete? Because this is what's not being regulated right now, and they're just not. You're not seeing some conversation about, oh, we need to go to a certain type of shaft to keep everybody aligned. That's the one. It's
right.
kind of feels like the
Regulated.
Wild West. Yes, it feels like the Wild West. So this is where people are gonna get their gains and put themselves on the launch monitors and get their numbers to
Yeah,
optimize at that point. So anything else you
yeah.
want to hit before we hop off and go watch the Cougs beat the Texas A&M Aggies?
Um. Thankful for the Mavs surgeon again. Shout out to Kyrie game winner. That game winner was crazy.
With the left
I
hand.
mean, yeah, that left hand 20 foot floater over Joker,
Yeah.
serious. But I don't know. I'm excited. The season is finally starting to warm up, so I feel like I'm about to start playing a lot more golf. I'm really just excited, looking forward. And yeah, I mean, just looking forward to my next match with Rod. If I'm being honest, a little match play going on. Are you coming down from
I
Mother's
know.
Day?
Definitely for Mother's Day. And I was so the PGA Tour is playing in Houston in a couple of weeks, right? Next week?
Tomorrow, next week, the very next week,
It's this
this week.
coming week. I don't know. I almost like in my head said I might
Don't
want to
do it.
sneak down.
Nah,
Why not? We may have to talk
I
about
don't.
that. But yes.
Yeah,
Um we'll see what this driver fitting looks like this week. Maybe I'll be able to compete and maybe there's a
not
couple
get left behind
incidences
so
out there.
much.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm not getting left. I'm not. Hold on. Let's not get crazy now. I ain't getting left behind that much, but I'm just gonna say I want to sneak you a few times. I don't know. I've been feeling real good with the power cut here lately, so getting really good
Oh
distance
God.
and yeah, bro. Oh, yeah, bro.
Okay,
But
Rod.
I'm gonna go get optimized this week, and I'll be ready by the next time we play.
Good on you, brother. Good on you.
All right, y'all. Bearded Bros Golf Show, back at it again. I feel like there's some weird news that'll break this week. So we got what is it? It's not the Shell Houston Open anymore. So it's just
It's the,
whatever
it's the Houston Methodist or something like that.
Texas Children's Houston Open. Played at Memorial. Love the course. So if you've never played Memorial, pretty damn fun course to play. Go check it
Definitely.
out in Houston, Texas. So we'll be back at it next week. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
Bearder Bros. We're out.